This course is presented to you free of charge by TTJ Tech Services of www.ttjtech.biz and by Stir It Up of www.stiritup.com. And remember, stir is spelled with a U, not an I, so that's STURITUP.com. TTJ Tech Services and Stir It Up are pleased to offer this course to you to the glory of God and to the benefit of all those who listen. Hello, and welcome to Voiceover In and Out, session number 9. This is an important announcement. Please pay close attention. Ladies and gentlemen, Trainer Matt here. Good to have you with us, praise God, and need to give you an important alert about the first 15 and a half minutes of what you are about to hear. I inadvertently, accidentally, had my audio settings set incorrectly and did not know it. One of the other instructors, Trainer Sarah, very graciously tried to alert me to it, but as I had Do Not Disturb focus mode turned on, I did not see her message. Consequently, the first 15 and a half minutes of what you're about to hear are on kind of extreme overdrive. They are intelligible, they make sense, but they're going to be a little edgy. And what I would encourage you to do is to turn down your volume a bit, especially if you're wearing headphones or listening on a HomePod or something. Turn the volume down for the first 15 minutes and 30 seconds of what you're about to hear, because if you don't, it's just going to sound like somebody, almost kind of screaming into a microphone, except I wasn't screaming, but it just was picking me up in the wrong way. I sincerely apologize for that. I really do. And certainly did not do that on purpose. I've learned a lesson that I need to double check. I didn't check that time because I always set it back, and apparently I didn't. So it was my fault. I take full responsibility, and I apologize. But on the other hand, we need that information in there because there's some useful housekeeping and introductory stuff. And so I would ask for your understanding and your patience. We'll make sure it doesn't happen again. And for this one, as I said, it's about 15 minutes and 30 seconds. So given where we are already in the recording, I'd say roughly 17, 18 minutes, somewhere around there. If you need to skip ahead, if it just is too much for you, you can do that, and then we're back to normal. But I'd encourage you not to skip ahead because I don't want you to miss out on anything. So you just need to have the volume turned down for the first few minutes. All right, so there you go. Let's get to it. A bit loud, but nevertheless, here it comes. God bless you, folks. All right. Well, praise God, and welcome back to Voiceover In and Out. This is session number 9 today, and we are going to be talking about the calendar. Moving right through this course, I do have a couple of very quick housekeeping things, a couple of quick announcements that I need to make, and these are going to be on our recording as well. If you're listening on one of our podcasts or YouTube or something, we need you to hear this as well, just in case you also attend live or you look for these recordings at certain times. As most of you know, we have our Tuesdays with TTJ sessions every Tuesday. Imagine that, at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, a different link than the one you used to join us here. And many times those are help sessions, but not always. Sometimes there are special presentations. And I am going to announce that we have a lot of special Tuesday presentations coming up in the next few weeks. Oftentimes, due to the amount of content that we offer in these courses, it is necessary for us to use some of the Tuesday sessions as sort of overflow class sessions, and that's what's going to be happening. So for those of you who only attend on Mondays and Wednesdays, I need you to try to make it happen to attend on Tuesdays as well. If you can't, it's not a deal breaker because anything we discuss will be posted on the podcast. So if you say, I just can't make it on a Tuesday, then that's okay. You can listen back on the podcast. We'll do our very best to get those up same day, so that if you're coming Mondays and Wednesdays, you have the Tuesday material under your belt before you attend on Wednesday. But Again, it's just necessary for us to do that as we move forward. And so we're going to, for those listening on the podcast too, this is being mentioned on November the 3rd. That's the day of the recording you're listening to right now. And of course, for those live. So tomorrow, the 4th, is a Tuesday. That'll be a regular help session. And then Tuesday, the 11th of November, will also be a regular help session. That's going to be the last regular help session of the season, because we're going to be getting into some very special presentations, starting with Tuesday, November the 18th. You're not going to want to miss that. For those of you who don't know, every year we do a special holiday gift guide, TTJ Holiday Gift Guide, and this year we will reveal the 2025 TTJ Holiday Gift Guide on Tuesday, November the 18th in our Tuesday session at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, you won't want to miss that because we always release that in time for the Christmas shopping season, including Black Friday and so on, and actually there are already some Black Friday sales starting. But especially as we get into the middle of November, we are going to be seeing a lot of Black Friday sales. And for those who don't know, one of the services that TTJ offers is what we call shopping assistance. And with shopping assistance, we basically become your personal shoppers with regards to technology, and sometimes there's a few other little gifts that we put on the gift guide too. But basically, you say, well, I want to buy an iPad or an iPhone, or I'm trying to decide between, the iPhone Air and the iPhone 17 Pro, or I'm trying to decide which pair of AirPods, or should I use an iPad or a Mac, all these kinds of things. And what we do as your personal shoppers is we talk to you about your needs. We find the best product for you at the best price point. We're looking at deals this time of year, right? So we find those for you. We do the legwork. We order the product. We ship it to you, and we even give you some complimentary, well, I should say included with the shopping assistance price, training sessions, 2 or 3 of those to help you get set up. And so this gift guide features all the products that we are promoting this year. We don't have partnerships with any of these companies. They don't endorse us or pay us to promote anything. We literally pick the products we like using, and many of them are Apple, but there's also some third-party accessories and smart devices and other fun things, and sometimes we even have some non-tech products. We've become known for our, well, they're not ours, they're from a local candy shop here, what they call hot chocolate bombs or cocoa bombs, and so different things like that. But we'll be revealing the 2025 edition of the TTJ Holiday Gift Guide on Tuesday, November the 18th, and at that point, the holiday shopping assistance promotions are open. We're also going to be revealing our own promotions for the Christmas holiday season, meaning, we offer training packages, we offer support packages and different things of that nature, and so there's always discounts on those for this time of year, as well as extended support hours from TTJ, and so we're going to be announcing what those are. All of that takes place on Tuesday the 18th of November at 2 p.m. Eastern Time in the Tuesdays with TTJ Zoom session, so you're not going to want to miss that one. And then on Tuesday the 25th, we're excited to announce on Tuesday the 25th of November, we are going to be doing a very special Tuesday session all about AI. And that's going to be on our newsletter as well coming up here. All about AI. Everybody's talking about AI, right? It's the big thing. It's here to stay, let's face it. So we're going to be doing a special presentation all about AI. Mostly demonstrations. A little bit of discussion maybe, and certainly answering your questions. But lots of demonstrations. Apple Intelligence, ChatGPT, Amazon Alexa Plus, Google Gemini, Perplexity, Grok, all of these different services and features and in different ways and different use cases and situations, we're going to be demonstrating on the 25th of November at 2 p.m. So you're not going to want to miss that. And then the remaining Tuesday sessions of the season will be dedicated to class material, class sessions for voiceover in and out. So you're not going to want to miss any of them. As I said, if you have to, you'll be able to find them on the podcast after they occur. But just be aware that tomorrow, the 4th, and Tuesday, the 11th, are the last regular help sessions. The rest of it is all going to be teaching every Tuesday from then through to the end of the season, which ends with Christmas. And so, we're done before Christmas, obviously, a couple days before. But anyhow, that's the way it's going to work. And I also want to make one other announcement that I'll be making repeatedly for the duration here. I want to remind all of you that there are 2 days where we will not be having class at all due to the holiday. So those are going to be Wednesday, the 26th of November. So 25th is our special AI session. 26th, there will not be class for VoiceOver In and Out. You come to VoiceOver In and Out, nothing's going to be there. It's just going to keep saying waiting for host because we're not showing up that day. That's the day we travel to my parents' home where we all have Thanksgiving together. So there's no class that day. And the following Monday, which is December the 1st, there will also not be any class. That is the day that my family and I tend to decorate for Christmas, and we heat up the leftover Thanksgiving dinner leftovers, and we just have a nice day together as a family decorating. Everybody's off from school and so forth, and so that's Monday the 1st of December, so we will not have class that day either. So again, Wednesday the 26th of November and Monday the 1st of December, there will be no class. We will resume on Tuesday the 2nd with class, and Wednesday the 3rd, and so on. And we go right up till the week of Christmas. We're going to keep announcing this. I don't expect all of you to necessarily remember all of that, but it is going to be repeatedly announced from now till then so that you don't forget. Okay, all that out of the way, we got to get to the calendar. And what a good way. I could have really used a segue there, couldn't I? I could have said, you put all this down on your Apple Calendar. And there you go. And so that's our segue into calendars for today. I feel like the calendar is probably underutilized, and I say that maybe that's a rash generalization that I ought not be making, right? Maybe I don't really have the knowledge to make that statement, but I've certainly had some students who use their Apple devices for, making calls, sending messages, maybe even browsing the web. And then it comes to the calendar, and I've seen them pull out the old cassette recorder or the old digital recorder or the old Perkins Brailler or something, or even sometimes like one of those what do they call those, like Braille note type of devices or something. And what kind of feedback I typically get from people is that they're a little bit intimidated by the calendar, and they're not sure how you can add things, and importantly, how you can find things on the calendar after the fact. And I think we're going to be able to clear all that up for you today. Now, I don't want to take much time with this part, but I do need to say it. Those of you who might remember our discussion about multiple types of accounts, remember when we talked about contacts, how it's possible to have, an iCloud account, an Outlook account, a Google account, all these different, Yahoo, they're all syncing contacts, and it can get confusing. And I said, I think that my recommendation is always to just use iCloud unless you have to use something else, right? Well, here's another instance where that's going to be true. So if you go into settings and you go into apps at the bottom, and then you go into something like either mail or calendars, and you look at the accounts there's an option for accounts. You'll see what accounts you have on your device and whether calendars are turned on. Because as you swipe, it'll say, like, for example, Google or Gmail, whatever it says, and it'll say mail, contacts, calendars, whatever. Or if it just says mail, that means calendars are turned off for that account. So I like it where iCloud is the only one that has calendars turned on. Now you say to me, well, what if I have third-party smart speakers or smart displays like the Echo Show or something like that? Well, thankfully, Amazon has a system that works very, very well with Apple, and you can, with a relative amount of ease, I mean, for those of us who have done it and who understand it, it's extremely easy. For the rest, it might appear to be complex, but once you do it, it's not. And that is, there's a relatively easy way to add your Apple Calendar to your Amazon account and have them integrate so that it is using your Apple Calendar. And that's really nice. Google, it's not quite so easy. Google, really, there's no Apple Calendar integration. And so when I used to have a Google Smart Display, a Nest Hub, I did have Google turned on, calendars turned on for my Google account. I very quickly realized we weren't using that anyway, and so I turned it off, and then we got rid of our Nest displays anyhow. So I don't really, know what to tell you other than there might be some cases like that, or like my wife's example I gave you before, where she's a teacher and they use Google. She has to have her Google calendars turned on if she wants to see her work calendars in the Apple Calendar app. Again, this is not meant to be overly intimidating to folks who aren't familiar with it, but it is really important because, again, we go back to this thing where I can't tell you how many times I've had students call or clients call, and, well, my calendar is not syncing. It's not showing up on another device and this and that, and certain events aren't there and stuff. And again, we look back and we realize they're using multiple calendar accounts, and one is turned on one device and not on another, or they've added to the wrong calendar or something like that. So that's why I always go out of my way to mention this, and that's going to apply to calendars, reminders, and even notes. So that said, I want to move on and I want to actually talk about the calendar app, which uses all these types of calendars, right? And the Apple Calendar app is first and foremost integrated with iCloud, and that means you can use your iCloud account. When you add an event to one device, it gets added to all the rest, and so on. And changes, deletions, everything. And that is super and really important because we don't want to have to be adding things manually to each device, right? So all our devices have all our events if we use iCloud, and we can have multiple calendars within iCloud, like a home calendar, a work calendar. I think those are automatically there. You can create other ones if you want to have other calendar names to help categorize things. If you use family sharing, remember, I think we talked about family sharing, where multiple people can share, different things across their family. When you set up family sharing, you have a family calendar, and that's really useful, obviously. Um, you can I think there's also a U.S. holidays, at least here in the United States. There's a U.S. holidays calendar that gets added if you want it, and shows the different holidays. I'm not sure what they do in other countries, to be honest with you, if they have the same respective types of calendars for those countries. I have to assume they do, but I don't know. And then you can even subscribe to calendars, and that means, like, you know, somebody else wants to share a calendar with you, and it can be a shared calendar that both of you can add to, kind of like the family calendar, or it can be subscription only. And a great example of that is, let's say that I have, one of my kids is part of a soccer team, and the team uses Apple Calendar to let us know about all the practices and the games and so on. Well, they're not going to want all the parents being able to modify the calendar. What they want is just for the parents to have access to the calendar so they can see when the students need to report for a practice, or see the game schedule and what have you. And so that's what's considered a subscription calendar. It's read only. That's what the holiday calendar is too. And so your events will show up. You'll be notified if that's, but you're not gonna be able to modify it. So you even have subscription calendars. Um, we can do one-time events. We can do recurring events. We can do all sorts of custom recurrence patterns, and so that's an overall explanation of the calendar app. What I'm going to do is begin to demo it for you, and what we'll look at is adding events, and we'll also look at how to find things that you have added to the calendar. And before we can do any of that, we kind of need to learn the layout of the app. So let me get the original audio going.
Show white more host tools pull app audio caption audio set.
Now let's
audio setting microphone no personal selected original set no mic done audio done.
Okay, it is on original sound. Interesting.
Speak.
Well, I hope that wasn't overly loud for you then. I thought it was on noise removal. I don't know how that happened. All right, well, I'm going to be aware of that now, so I apologize. Hopefully that wasn't too bad, or somebody, I don't even know if I'd have seen it if somebody texted me, because I have Do Not Disturb on. Hopefully that wasn't too crazy for you. Let me see. Yeah, that explains why. I did get a message. Yep, and of course I was not. I don't see them because I have Do Not Disturb on, but that's what I thought. Hopefully the sound is good now. Um, we might have to replace that in the recording so that people can hear all the information I shared. I don't know how that happened, but anyway, um, let's go ahead. We should be good now, and demonstrate for you the the layout of the calendar app. Now, I've got my iPhone here,
Button.
and basically, I've opened the calendar app already. We're kind of looking at an app that has
Today. Button.
a sort of bottom tab bar, but it's not really. VoiceOver doesn't really consider it to be a tab bar. They're just sort of buttons across the bottom, but it kind of acts as a tab bar. And so you have the Today button at the bottom left.
Today. Button.
If we swipe to the right,
Calendars. Button.
we have the Calendars button. And finally,
Inbox 1. Button.
we have the Inbox on the far right at the bottom. So what this does, the Today button will quickly jump to today's date on the calendar. And that's a useful way if you've scrolled to, different dates and so forth. That's a quick way to uh, get you back to today's date. The button to the right of that, the calendars button, that allows you to view all of the calendars you have and add additional ones. So I mentioned you could have multiple calendars within iCloud and possibly multiple calendar accounts. So if I go to calendars
Calendars. But close. Button.
and I double tap that, it opens up this screen and there's a close button.
Close. Button.
Now if I swipe to the right
Calendars. Heading. iCloud. Button. Expanded.
and notice
Double tap to collapse. Actions available.
that's my calendar account, iCloud, and it's expanded. If I wanted to collapse it, I could double tap it. But because it's expanded, I'll be able to swipe through each of the items within the iCloud account. And again, if you have other kinds, Google, Yahoo, Outlook, whatever, they will appear here as well. But I only have iCloud, so let's go to the right.
Selected. Home. Selected. TTJ training. Public and shared with Phantom Senior.
Now, this is
Actions available.
what this is. These are all selected, means they're all showing. If you don't want to see events on a particular calendar, you can deselect this by double tapping it. Any of these calendars you don't want to see, you can deselect. Because maybe you say, well, I don't want to see all the events from this calendar. But you have to understand if you deselect a particular calendar, you're also not going to get notifications from that particular calendar. And so that's a very important thing to keep in mind. But I have the home calendar.
Selected. Home.
I have this shared.
Selected. TTJ training. Public and shared with
Now,
Phantom.
what that is that's a public calendar that people can actually subscribe to with a link that has different training events that we offer and so forth.
Selected. Family. Shared with Jessica Volbrecht
And there's our family
Actions
calendar,
available.
which is for the family sharing.
Selected. Work.
A work calendar,
Selected. TTJ team. Shared with Sarah Potok
and that's our.
Actions available.
It's not saying all the names each time, but that's the calendar that our instructor team shares, and we have our meetings on there and so forth if we want to do that.
Selected. Bedford County Fake
So,
Other. Button.
All of these, you can see that there are many calendars that I have within the iCloud account. And then you have other.
Other. Button. Expanded.
That's not really a calendar account, but it's another section. And in that is where we're going to find.
Selected. U.S. holidays. Subscribed.
That's that subscribed
available.
U.S. holidays calendar.
Selected. Scheduled reminders. Selected. Birthdays.
Okay, this is where the birthdays appear. I told you before that the proper way to add somebody's birthday is to add it to their contact card and that it would appear on the calendar automatically. Well, this is how it appears on the calendar automatically because there's a special calendar called birthdays. And when you add someone's birthday to their contact card, that gets added to that special birthdays calendar automatically. And scheduled reminders, I don't want to talk prematurely about that. We'll learn about that next week when we learn about reminders, but that is something to have you keep in mind that that's there as well. So all of these are under the other category. Again, anything you don't want to see, you can deselect it, but just remember you're also no longer going to get notifications for events on that particular calendar if it's deselected. And then here at the bottom,
Selected. Showed.
oh,
Selected. Siri
yeah,
suggestion.
Siri suggestions. There's a couple other things there, but let's go down.
Add calendar. Button. Add calendar.
That's the very bottom. You can add your own calendar if you want to create another one, make a public one, whatever you want to do. That can be done there. All right, so I'm not going to change anything from this screen, but I did want to show you that. So let's close that.
220s. Close.
Remember,
button.
up at the top. Now, there was a third button at the bottom, inbox. And this has to do with any invitations you receive. People invite you to an event, or if you are part of shared calendars like a family calendar, if somebody modifies something on that family calendar, it's going to show up in your inbox here as a notification. So I'm going to go to the inbox.
Inbox 1. Button.
It tells me there's a 1 there, so there's something I am not aware of apparently. Or
Close
it doesn't think.
button.
There's a close button.
Selected. New button. Replied button.
And you
2
have
of 2.
new or replied.
Siri suggestions. Heading.
Okay. So what it actually is there's a Siri suggestion, and let's see what it is.
Reservation. The Chocolatier Restaurant Plus Bar. Found in Open Table. Wednesday. November. Add to calendar. Button.
Okay.
Ignore. Button. Ignore.
All right. So what we have here, I used the Open Table app to make a restaurant reservation for our family at a restaurant that we like here in November. And it sees that from Open Table and recognizes that that's an event I might want to add to my calendar. And indeed, I will. I will come back in here and add that to my calendar later. I'm not going to do it right this second because I want to get to how to manually add events. But there is an option here for me to add that or ignore it. I'm just going to go back and close this for now, and I'll come back to that later.
Close button.
All right, so now we are back in the main calendar screen. If I'm not sure what day I'm on, I can double tap on today at the bottom.
Today button.
But we should already be good. So there's a little bit of this we'll just kind of like think of it as a tab bar. It's not really what it's called, but those 3 buttons at the bottom. And now I'm going to touch the upper left. And of course, as we would expect,
search button. Search
there's
button.
going to be a back button if I'm inside of something. But right now, there's a search button. Now, this is different. You might say, well, I thought you just went through this whole thing of telling us that search fields are on the bottom in iOS 26. And they are. But this is not a search field. This is a search button. It is a way to bring up an option for you to search. It's not right now available. It's just a plain search button. So it's at the top. If you double tap it, it will, it will let you search then with a search field.
Add button.
And then there's an add button to the right.
Years 2025. Heading. January to February, March to April to May 2000.
So it looks like I'm seeing all of the months of the year right now. I'm in years view. So I actually do want to double tap on today at the bottom.
Today, but today.
Okay. Now let's touch the top.
2025. Back button.
See, now we have a back button because we're inside of something. Presumably it's the November month with all the dates here. Today being highlighted. And if I swipe to the right now,
list button.
There's a list button.
Search button.
And then there's that search button. So the list button allows us to, it's going to do different things depending on what mode we're in. If we have, like right now, if I just touch the middle of my screen.
Months. Monday, November 24th. 1 event. But Sunday, November 23rd. 3 events. Button. Saturday, November 22nd.
And
2 events.
What I'm doing is swiping left. Any of these that, I could swipe right also, obviously, to go forward. But any of these that I double tap on will select that particular date. And below at the very bottom sort of half of the screen, it's going to show the particularly selected date. So like here, if I touch the lower half,
Tuesday, Tuesdays with T. Wednesday,
Let me
Monday,
actually,
Wednesday,
not quite far
December
enough yet.
31st.
Oh, you know what?
4
That's showing
events.
me.
Monday, November.
Okay, so I don't have a date selected. I thought when I did today that I would, but I need to double tap a date here.
Sunday,
So
November 2nd. Saturday, selected. Today, Monday, November 3rd. 2 events.
now it
Button.
says it's selected,
Tuesday, selected.
but I'm gonna
November, back button.
double tap it again, and now what it does is it brings up at the
Events, charge
the
my,
bottom half. So
take my pill.
I've got all these.
Monday, November 3rd. Heading. Stephanie Sower, take my pill.
It's got birthdays.
Tuesday, November 4th. Heading.
And then it goes to the
Election
next day, and you can see. So what I'm in here is a list view. So this button up at the top now,
November, no list, button.
if I double tap that,
Single day, button. Multi-day, button. Selected, list, button. Dismiss context menu.
so the way I have it right now is it's just a list. And that is easy for folks who cannot see it because it's not showing me empty blocks. You know, like if you do the single day or the multi-day, what you're going to have is like every hour of the day listed. And that's part of what intimidates people, I think. Like, let me put it on single day once
Multi-day, single day.
and show you what happens.
I'm on 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 p.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m., in progress, 3 p.m., 4 p.m.
See,
take my pill,
and
6 p.m.,
you're like,
7
well,
p.m.
how do I navigate this? I don't like that. Well, so that's why we use like a list view.
No, single day,
So
November, single day, button.
Now it says single day. It doesn't say list, right? So if I double tap that now,
selected, list, button.
I can go back to list.
Dismiss context menu. But November. Back button. List. Button. Search. Add. Button. Events. Stephanie Rose's birthday. All day. Take my Tuesday. Election day. All day. Tuesdays with TTJ. From 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Zoom. TTJ training.
See, it tells me what time the event is. Tomorrow I have Tuesdays with TTJ. It tells me if it's 2 p.m. It tells me it's on the TTJ training calendar, and it even tells me it's in Zoom. So
TTJ Tech check. Gold member. Take my pill. 5.
So
do some
all,
kind of
all of
Wednesday.
these things are,
take my
and
pill.
some of them are coming from the Reminders app, but we're not going to talk about that today, so I'm sort of ignoring that right now. But this is the, you can swipe through all the events if you choose list.
Charge my
And
pay
like,
for
here's
Carson's
another, there's
service. Charge my Apple Pencil. 8:15 p.m.
That's technically a reminder. See if I can find
Joseph
something
Weekly, Jessica,
else that's on the
Dr.
calendar.
Lay, from 3,
Oh, okay,
Joseph,
here my wife has an appointment. This is on
Thursday,
Thursday.
Joseph Jessica,
and
Dr.
so
Lay, from 3:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Everett family.
Okay, so
Take my
as we
faith
swipe,
school
let's
and
see.
take out the
Here's a
garbage.
faith school that I have.
Faith school and weekly Bible study from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
So again, all it's if I'm in the list mode, it's going to give me each event the way that it appears on the calendar, and that's going to be one of the easiest ways to navigate. But I want to show you something. If I go back here,
November, back button,
and I hit the back button, where I can now see
months, Sunday, November 30th, December 2020, Sunday, Saturday, Friday, Thursday.
Right, so I swipe through that. Now watch what happens here. Up at the top,
2025, back button, to list, button.
There's still a list button, but listen now.
Selected, compact, button, stacked, button, details, button, list, button, dismiss context menu.
Notice that there's not the same choices, and that's because the view that you are now in is the month view, where we can see each month day by day. So you have different choices now. You have stacked, compact, details, and list. And so the choices are going to change for what that button does, depending on what view you are in. Right now I'm in the view of every day, day by day.
Months, Monday, November 10th, 2 events.
So there's 2 events on that day.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Let's see if I can find that reservation I have. I don't know if it'll show up because I didn't add it to the calendar yet, but it might as a Siri suggestion.
Thursday, November 13th.
That would have been
Tuesday, Wednesday, November 19th. Thursday, Friday, November.
Actually, let's do another one.
Friday, November 14th. 3 events. Button.
Okay, because there's something on that day.
Double tap to view events on
that we can look at. My daughter's in a musical that day for the high school drama club.
Events, faith school and weekly Bible stuff. Take out the Friday.
Now,
take Hattie's birthday. Pamela Levi. Take my pill. Saturday,
There's a
November 15th.
Okay, we didn't apparently add that yet to the
Take my
calendar,
water.
and I thought we had.
Sunday.
So there you go. That's proof that I need to go back and add that. But now, if I keep
Take
going,
my dues
let's
Wednesday.
see if
Aaron
there's.
Max pay the sewer. Clean
Change it.
my car. Take my pet charge.
Yeah,
My
that
pay for car
and that
support.
event
Reset iPhone.
isn't. Let's
Thursday.
see,
Joseph
and
week.
that event isn't
Thursday.
showing up yet
Take my
because
pill.
I need
Faith school.
to add that. But you see, any of these dates you double tap on, then it brings up a list of events for that day. If you're in list view, you can check at the top again.
No list button.
Right? So that is a very easy way to find what's on your calendar, to pick a specific day as the starting point and then set the view to list. And then you can just literally swipe through events. And I think let me see your something.
Vertical navigate headings.
Your headings.
Events. Friday, November 3rd, 2000. Sunday, November 5th, 2023. Heading.
Right. So each heading represents a day, and you can swipe heading by heading to go day by day, and then I can swipe to the right.
Church from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Christ Victor. Monday, November.
So I can see what the events are on that day. And in the rotor, there also, if I go back,
November back,
and I'm in this view now, I can let's see if there's anything else I can do here. I think that's it. Yeah, that's going to be it, because the basically there's a more content option here on a particular event, and I can see like
family, scheduled reminders, calendars, church, take my pill, pack the library, books, events.
See, it's
family, scheduled reminders, calendars.
It's showing me what calendars are represented and what events are in that particular. So all of this is in the rotor, but I think your main way of navigating through events that are on your calendar is to, probably the easiest way on the iPhone, is to select a particular day where you kind of want to start, or use the today button at the bottom, and then make sure you are set to list view, because that is going to give you basically a way of just selecting a day and then swiping left and right from event to event. You're not going to be seeing empty blocks, where there isn't any information. The other thing you can do is you can search for something in particular. So
Monday,
let's, for example, here.
Saturday, 2000.
Let's
list.
see.
Search button. Search field. Search field is editing.
Okay, so if I want to search, I can type now, and let's see if I can find. I typed the word dentist, and now up above here.
Monday, July 12th, Matt Dentist opt from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
So, see, it's going to show me all the results once I type something, and I just tap above that. So if you want to find something on your calendar, you can type its name, and we will.
Dentist, clear text, close button.
We'll get out of that.
2000.
All right. So, and then of course the other way to navigate is to ask SIRI, and you can say something like this. What's on my calendar for tomorrow?
Tomorrow, you have 5 events. Here's the first 3. All day tomorrow, Election Day, from 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., you have Tuesdays with TTJ. And from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., you have TTJ Tech Check.
So you get the idea, and then it'll keep reading if I want it to. The other way you can do it is you can specifically ask when an event is, as long as you kind of know the name of the event. So, it like if I say, when is church on my calendar?
Church at Christ Victory Church is scheduled for 10 a.m. Sunday.
And so, see, as long as I know the name of something as it appears on my calendar, I can even ask when it is. When is my dentist appointment? When is, lunch with so-and-so? So you can use SIRI to find events. You can use the search field to find events. Or you can choose a particular day and then set the view to list view, and then literally just swipe left and right to move event by event on the calendar, or use heading navigation to move from day to day on the calendar, and then swipe left and right to go through events. Now, our iPad users will know that there's also a really cool way to navigate on the iPad But we are going to totally avoid that until our iPad class, because this class here is a more rudimentary class, and we're just going to focus primarily on the iPhone. We do have that iPad class coming up in the spring, for those who really want to get extra productive and use their iPad and so on. And um, we highly encourage you to consider taking that. That's also a free class. But right now, what I'd like to do is to show you how to add events to your calendar, because this is going to be very important, and it'll take up a good bit of the time here. And what I'm actually going to do is a lot of times I use just a make believe event that that I know is something I'm not actually going to add, but I'm actually going to add my daughter's musical to the calendar, because I realized it's nobody had done that, I guess. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to find at the upper right corner of the screen, again, predictable patterns. It's usually at the upper right or the bottom right. We already know the bottom right has the inbox button, so it must be at the upper right, our add button.
Calendar active. Add button.
And there it is.
Add button.
Right? And so all we do is we double tap that.
Add text field. Text field is editing. Title. Character mode.
Now, I'm in the title field, meaning the event title. And what I'm going to do is I could put the entire name of the musical, or I could say Kylie musical. I think I'm actually just going to put musical, because that's the easiest way.
Cap M U.
If I wanted to look it up on the calendar.
Space musical space.
Just for I'm thinking about teaching you best practices, right? So, I could put, they're doing Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. That's a very long name. If you were to look it up later on your calendar, especially using SIRI, you might say, when is musical, right? So, yeah, that's what I'm going to put, just musical.
Text field is a clear text. Musical at FRST. Today. Okay. Musical at dinner. Everett area.
Now, what that's doing is it's giving me suggestions based on either past events or what it thinks I might want to add. But if I don't do any of those, I just keep swiping to the right.
Location or video call.
Okay. It's asking me, where is this event going to take place? Is it going to be a video call? Is it an in-person event? If so, where is it located? I'm going to double tap on this so that I can enter the information about where it's located.
Location search field. Location heading.
What you're going to do is either start typing an address or a business name or a contact name, and then you're going to get search results based upon that name that you type. So I'm going to start typing the business name.
Copy.
It's a school where this is located, and I think I have enough typed here.
Location heading.
Type a few letters and then tap above, kind of like when we entered contacts into a messages conversation. And I've typed some letters, and I'm going to look above the keyboard now for search results. Swiping to the right.
Cancel, but search field is editing. Clear text. Everett area. Current location. Contacts. Heading.
So I have a contact here, but it would actually be correct because it's my wife's work.
Jessica Volbrecht's home.
Not home.
Map locations. Heading.
Okay, map locations. Let's see what we come up with here and see.
High School.
That's the one. It's the high school, and it reads me the address.
Everett Area High School. One Renaissance, sir.
It's actually reading the whole address, so I can double tap on the address of the location. It's the correct search result.
Cancel button.
All right. So it has populated that now. If I swipe to the right.
New heading done button. Selected event button. Reminder button. 2 of 2.
I didn't even show you that. That was at the very top before the title, but we're already on event. That's what we want. So
musical text field.
There's the title.
Everett area clear
There's
text.
the location. That is going to help me out a lot in creating this event. Let's go to the right.
All day switched button off.
Is this
double tap to toggle setting
an all-day event? And the answer is no. It's not an all-day event. So we're going to keep going.
Starts 3 p.m. November 3rd, 2025.
Okay, it's just giving me the date that was currently selected on the calendar. If you want to do it that way, you could first select a day on the calendar and then hit the add button and create your event, and it'll already be on the correct date. But I like to just do it from the add event screen. And so notice what it read me is the current or currently selected date and time.
Starts 3 p.m., November 3rd, 2025.
Okay. It's important to remember that is not a button. There's nothing there to double tap. That's just information. The buttons are to the right. So if we swipe to the right,
November 3rd, 2025. Button collapsed. Double tap to expand.
okay, that's our date picker. That's how you're going to pick what date the event starts on. It's collapsed. In order to work with it, we need to expand it by double tapping it.
November 3rd, 2025. Expanded.
Okay, let's swipe to the right and see what our options are.
3 p.m. Button
Okay,
collapsed.
that's the other button for the
Double
time.
tap to expand.
We're not going to expand that right now because we're working with the date first.
Month, November 2025. Button adjustable. Double tap to change month and year. Swipe up or down with one finger to adjust the value.
Okay, you got a lot of information there, so let me explain that. This is what I like to call a hybrid element, and I don't know if that's really an accurate. I mean, it's an accurate term. It represents it. I don't think that's an actual voiceover term that Apple uses necessarily. But what I mean by a hybrid element is it serves more than one function. It's two kinds of things. It's a value adjuster, but it's also a button. Now, why in the world would we want something like that? Well, because right now, it's a month picker. If I swipe up and down, it's going to change the month. It's currently selected on November, but if I swipe up,
December to January 2026, February 2026,
and if I swipe back down,
January 2026, December 2025, November 2025.
and that's actually where we want to be for this event. So if you needed to change the month, you could just swipe up or down. The issue is, we're in November of 2025. What if I'm scheduling something for April of 2027? Not just 2026, but I'm going a whole year ahead. Now, I could keep swiping up with one finger through every single month in 2026, plus a few months to get to April of 2027. I could do that, but I could also double tap on this button to reveal a separate year picker, which is going to save me quite a number of steps. Because if I double tap on this button and I reveal the year picker, I can change the year to 2027 first, and then I can change the month to April, and it's going to save me a number of swipes through each month. So that's why this button serves as both. Probably most of the time you'll only use it as a month picker, so you don't need to double tap it. You just swipe up and down on it to change the month. We are in the correct month, so let's swipe to the right and see what we have.
Saturday, November 1st, button.
And that already is a past date. But what we have here is a full view of the calendar for the month of November.
Sunday, November 2nd, button. Selected. Today, Monday, November 3rd. Tuesday, November 4th.
Okay, this is going
Wednesday,
to take a while.
November 5th.
I got to go all the way to November the 14th. So do I really want to keep swiping one day at a time? I mean, I can, but if there were a way to move more quickly through the calendar, I sure would like to know. And the answer is, there is a quicker way. And some of you may be thinking, well, it's by touch. You can just explore by touch. And yeah, that is a possibility, especially as you develop muscle memory, because you'll sort of know about how far down the screen to go. You know, if my event's on the 25th, I'm going to know that's almost at the bottom of the screen, and I can probably do that. But that may not be the best way to do it either. There's actually another option, and you might remember a probably rarely used rotor option called vertical navigation. I did mention it, but we didn't use it a whole lot. Vertical navigation takes you directly below or above the current item that you are on. When you set your rotor to vertical navigation, you swipe down with one finger or up with one finger, just like any other rotor setting, and then it's going to move you directly above or directly below whatever you're currently on. In this calendar experience where you're setting the date for an event, there could not be a more perfect option, because what vertical navigation will do is it will take you 7 days ahead or 7 days back on the calendar. So if I go back to November the 1st,
Sunday, Saturday, November 1st, button.
and I now set my rotor to vertical,
Vertical navigation.
and praise God, that was just one turn to the left there. I swipe down.
Saturday, November 8th, button. Saturday, November 15th, button.
And notice I'm already on the 15th. Her event is on the 14th, so I'm just going to swipe one time to the left now.
Friday, November 14th, button.
And that's the start date for the musical. So I'm going to double tap.
Selected, Friday, November 14th.
And now I'm going to swipe up with one finger to go back to
Friday, November 7th, button.
and one more time.
Saturday, November 1st, button.
And now I'm going to swipe to the left.
Month, November 3 p.m., button.
And I'm going to double tap on the time picker because we're done with the date picker. So let's double tap on the time picker.
3 p.m., expanded.
And swipe to the right.
3 o'clock, picker item.
You have three separate pickers here. And you can double tap on one and manually type the time in as either a 1 or 2 digit hour and then a 2-digit minute, no colons or anything, just, the minute and the hour. So like 7 o'clock would be 7:00, 8:25 would be 8:25, whatever. But you also can use these pickers, which is typically what people are going to do, and it usually is going to give you what you need. I think it does 5-minute intervals, but you can get pretty close. So I'm on 3 p.m.
3 o'clock, picker item.
Or I'm on 3 o'clock. It's on the 3 hour. I need to swipe up to 7.
7 o'clock, 7 of 12.
Now I need to swipe to the right.
00 minutes, picker item.
Okay, that's already correct, but I'll just swipe up and show you.
05 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, 15 minutes.
Swipe back down.
05 minutes, 00 minutes, 25 of 60.
And indeed, it does start at 7 o'clock, so the 00 is correct. And then one more time to the right.
PM, picker item, adjustable,
This
2
is
of 2.
Swipe down.
AM, 1 of 2.
Swipe up.
PM, 2 of 2.
So this is your AM and PM picker. When you're doing, if you were to type it in, if you wanted to automatically represent the AM or PM, you'd have to type the military, I don't know. I guess you could do the military. I think. Maybe I'm actually questioning myself now, but I think you could, like 1400 for the hour, but, or, I'm not sure now. But there would still, once you type it in, you still could use this AM or PM picker. That would be the other way to do it. Again, I really don't see much of a need to type it in. You could double tap on one of those and do that if you really needed an event to start at like 7:08 or something, because you can only get 5-minute intervals with the picker. But again, in most cases, people won't need to do that, and I think it's easier to just use the pickers. If your event starts at 7:08, maybe set it for 7:05, then you don't have to mess with the, typing it incorrectly. So I would just recommend using these pickers, but it can be done the other way. And then if we swipe to the right again now.
Time zone, New York, button.
That's going to confirm for us that we're in the correct time zone here. You may or may not have that in your calendar, depending on your settings. Go to the right.
Ends, 8 p.m., November 14th, 2025.
So the default event duration, which can also be customized in your calendar settings, is 1 hour in my case. This is obviously going to be longer than that, and so I will set the event I probably have it end at midnight, actually, because I think the musical will probably be 2.5, 3 hours, and we'll probably go out to eat afterwards. I know the one night we are, so I might as well go ahead and just make enough time for that as one event. Some people might prefer to set it as 2 separate events, but I'm just going to go ahead and set it as one event. So we'll say that the end time is like midnight. So
November 14th, 2025, button.
Well,
collapsed.
Okay. I'd have to change the date, I guess, to November the 15th at midnight. I think instead I'll say that it ends at 11:50 or something. Then I don't have to mess with both the date and the time here for the sake of just,
8 p.m., button, collapsed.
We need to double tap.
8 p.m., expanded. 8 o'clock, picker not 10, 11 o'clock, 11 of 12, 50, 11 o'clock, 55 minutes.
I swiped down to get to that more quickly.
PM.
And there you go, and it says 11:55 p.m. I mean, that's probably, close enough. All right, go to the right.
Time zone, New York, button.
And we have
Travel time, none, button.
Okay, right now there's no travel time in here, but you might remember that I said it would be useful to enter the correct location of the event, which we did. And so what I'm going to do is double tap on this.
Travel time, switched button, off.
And I'm going to turn it on.
Double tap to toggle setting.
So we double tap to turn it on.
On.
Now, travel time is on. And if I swipe to the right,
Starting location, 41.
it already has my current location as the starting location. If it doesn't have any starting location, or if it has an incorrect starting location, you can absolutely double tap on this button. You can either choose to tell it to use your current location, or you can manually enter a starting location. It's already correct. It happens to be on the correct one. And so if I swipe to the right,
Select a starting location to automatically determine travel time, or select a time below.
so if I keep swiping to the right,
Selected, based on location, 10 minutes.
that's what we're going to use. But I'll just show you if I keep swiping to the right.
Based on location, 45 minutes.
It would take 45 minutes to walk there. But if we keep going to the right,
Based on location, 15 minutes.
and I think that would be probably the ride sharing option, or like transit type of options.
5 minutes.
Then you can manually choose one.
15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 1 hour.
Right, you can pick these different ones. We're correct where we want to be already.
Based on location, selected. Based on location, 10 minutes.
Okay, so this is all good. So all I have to do now is go back at the upper left corner and
Travel time, new, back button.
go back to new, because we have the travel
Cancel.
time now. So if I
Repeat.
if I-
Travel time, 10 minutes, button.
if I look there, see, it's there now. Travel time is 10 minutes. And by the way, they will try to take current traffic conditions into account when they establish that, and I'll show you how that's going to play out here in a couple minutes. So let's keep going to the right.
Repeat, never, button.
Okay, repeat never, meaning it's a one-time event. Technically, this is a two-time event because it actually occurs on Friday and Saturday. We have the musical both days, and the time is the same. Now, I could create two separate events for that, but since we have the option of choosing recurring events, I'm going to go into this,
Selected, never, button.
and I'm going to pick
Every day, button.
every day. So if I double tap on that,
Repeat, every day, button.
now it's going to notify me on Friday and Saturday, but it's also going to add the event for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and beyond. I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is swipe to the right.
End repeat, never, button.
End repeat never means it just keeps going until I delete it or whatever. In this case, I'm going to pick an end date.
Selected, never, button. On date, button.
Notice you have on date,
Dismiss
and
content.
then you can dismiss that. So we're going to say on date.
On date, button. End repeat, on date, button.
Now let's see what it offers us by default.
End date, November 21st, 2025.
Well, that would be a whole week's worth of them. Nah, that's too many.
Date picker, November 21st, 2025, button.
Okay.
Collapsed.
It's collapsed.
Double date picker, November 21st, month, November 2025, button.
That's our month picker, our hybrid picker.
Saturday, November 1st, dimmed, button.
Can't be that because that's already passed. But let's go.
Sunday.
Let's go to Sunday and use vertical.
Headings, vertical navigation, Sunday, November 16th, button.
That's the date I'll pick.
Selected, Sunday, November 16th.
Technically, it's only Friday and Saturday. By picking Sunday, that may also leave it on the calendar for an extra day, but I'd rather do it that way just to be safe. I always do that with my events. I put them like one day after they really end, just to be safe. So that's personal preference. I think probably I'd be fine to have picked Saturday, but this way I'm sure it's on the calendar for both days and maybe a third day, but that's all right. Now we're going to swipe up with one finger.
Sunday, month, November
And
2nd, date picker, November.
We're going to go...
End date, end repeat, every day, button.
All right.
End date picker.
I'm going to
November
hide
16th,
the date picker now.
November 16th, end date, November 16th, 2025.
All right, let's go to the right.
Date picker, no calendar.
Okay,
Date
thought
picker, calendar, home, button.
All right, what calendar am I putting this on? Well, if I put it on my home calendar, it will sync to all of my devices, but only mine. And so I want to make sure the whole family is aware of this event, which we are, but we're going to go ahead and put it on the family calendar. So I'm going to double tap on this,
iCloud.
swipe to the right.
Selected. Home. TTJ Training. Family. Button.
There's the one I want, family. Double tap. Okay.
Calendar. Family. Button.
All right, it's on the family calendar. Swipe to the right.
Invitees. None. Button.
Now, with invitees, you can invite people who are not part of the family calendar or part of your calendar, whatever, and you can actually send them an invitation. Now, if you're going to use this feature, it is a great idea, if they're Apple users, to actually know what email address they use for their Apple account. Because if you do, and it is added that way, it will automatically put it in their calendar inbox. Remember I showed you the inbox and it had one badge there, which meant it was a Siri suggestion. It wanted me to add that reservation for dinner. But that's also where invitations will show up if they're sent to your Apple account email. They'll automatically show up in the inbox, allowing the person to reply with either accept or reject or propose a new time or whatever. So they have all these options within their calendar inbox. If you are comfortable enough with the person, or it seems appropriate to ask them which email address would work for that, which one is their Apple account email, that would be the way to go. If that's not reasonable, or if you happen to send it to an email address that's not associated with their Apple account, what it'll do is just come to them as an actual email, and they should be able to reply from the email. There should be links to accept and to, things of that nature, but it's just not going to automatically show up on their calendar. So again, the best practice is if you do know their Apple account email address, that's the ideal, and then it'll just show up. But invitees, you can start typing in there, and you can have multiple email addresses for multiple invitees to the event.
Invitees. None.
And we might do that, but I'm not going to go through that right now. You can play with that on your own. Let's go to the right.
Alert. Default. 1 day before. Button.
Okay, that's the default. Again, your default alert times can be customized within your calendar settings. That's settings, apps, and calendar. And you can change the default alert times for each type of event. All-day events, one-time events, birthdays. Each one of these has separate alert times that you can set. And so the default for this type of event is just 1 day before. And in this instance, that's enough because we already know when the musical is. I really wouldn't have even needed to put this on the calendar, which is probably why nobody did. But, I wanted to do that anyhow. So I'll show you. So basically, I'm going to leave it at 1 day ahead. And that's when it's going to, you can even do like 2 weeks before, or something as short as like 5 minutes before, or 10 minutes, or at the time of the event, whatever the case may be. And it supports up to 2 alerts. So look at the second one.
Second alert. Time to leave. Button.
And again, I can change that as well. But by default, I have a time to leave event. So remember I told you we'd come back to this. We set the location. We put the actual address. I just entered the name of the place and it found the address in Maps, which is great. Praise God. But it was correct. And we put the address of the location. We also put the travel time in there based upon our current location. And based on location right now is where I am, it's going to take 10 minutes. If I am at a different location, it would be a different travel time. If the traffic conditions change, it would be a different travel time perhaps. But either way, because I picked based on location, it's going to use my current location in combination with the traffic, and it's going to let me know when it's the best time to leave. And what's nice is it gives you a couple minutes warning. So for example, 10 minutes, which is the typical travel time to that school, and that means I should, well, here's the thing. We're going to probably need to leave earlier. I guess I should have put the start time of that event as like 6:30 because you want to get there early to get seats. And so I think maybe I'm going to go back and change that.
So reminder.
Very quickly.
Select ever cleared all start November 7 p.m. But 7 p.m. Expand 7 at 6 o'clock 00 minutes 30 minutes 6 o'clock 30 p.m.
Okay.
6:30 November 4 6:30.
That's better. And now I have a feeling it may have adjusted the end time because I think it looks at the duration.
Ends 11:25 p.m. November 14th.
It did. It made that a half hour early also.
November 11:25, 11:20, 11 o'clock, 25 minutes. Picker item.
No big deal. We will.
010
Whoop.
00 55 11 o'clock 11:55 p.m.
Okay.
11:55.
Now we should be good.
Musical text all day starts 6:30 p.m. November 14th. 6:30 ends 11:55 p.m. November 14th. November 11th. Travel time 10 minutes. Repeat every day and repeat on date button. End date November 16th. Date picker calendar family invitees none alert default 1 day before second alert time to leave.
All right, so I've reviewed everything here and it all looks good. So back to that time to leave. We want to get there about 6:30. And it's a 10-minute travel time, so that would mean, probably leave at 6:20. It's actually going to notify me at like maybe 6:17 or 6:18 in order to give me time to, to get to the car and so on. So it does a really good job with these time to leave notifications. And then if I keep going to the right, there's a couple other things.
Add attachment button.
Add attachment if we have some sort of a, document that we need to have for this event. We can attach it to this event in the calendar.
Attachments will be applied to all occurrences.
Look at that.
URL text field.
If there's a web address,
Double tap to edit.
we can enter it there. Now, a lot of times, if you're entering a remote event like in Zoom or something, or FaceTime, you would use the location field to enter that URL. But you can put it here as well.
Notes text field. Double tap to edit.
And notes would be,
Use the road to access
anything you
misfit.
need to remember. Remember to bring this for the event, or remember to do this ahead of time, or whatever. You can put that in there.
Notes.
And in the notes field, and then that's it. So this event is ready to create. At the top, I'm going to hit
Done button.
the done button,
Done. 2025 back button.
and now it's on my calendar.
Months selected.
So-
Today.
If I were to ask, what's on my calendar for November 14th?
On November 14th, you have 4 events. All day November 14th, 2025, Hattie's birthday. From 11 a.m. to noon, you have Pamela
Okay,
Levi
so there's some
training.
other information
At 5:30 p.m., you have
on
Take
my
Cat.
calendar.
And from 6:30 p.m. to 11:55 p.m., you have musical at Everett Area High School. That's everything.
Notice that's there now, and I could also find it by touch or swipe if
Tuesday, Wednesday, November 19th.
I'm already in the list. So if I swipe to the left,
To Monday, Sunday, Saturday, November 15th.
let's just pick that day, for example.
November, back button, event, Sunday,
And,
November 16th, heading,
Swipe to the left.
Water the Bamboo musical, from 6:30 p.m. to 11:55 p.m.
There it is. And let's see if it did put it on for Sunday.
Water, Sunday, church, Take My Pet musical.
Yeah, it did. So as I suspected, I really could have said that Saturday was the end date, but I just wanted to be safe. If I go to the right, we know it's not on for Monday.
Back the lot, Monday, take Tuesday.
Yeah, there's that. Okay. So that's how you create events. That's how easy it is to find the events once you've created them. And remember, you can also search. The only other thing I want to add to this is, a couple little things. The first thing I want to add to this is that it is possible to use SIRI to create events. I am a big fan of Siri. I think she does an excellent job. I'm not among the people who complain about SIRI. I think she's fantastic. I think she will get even better when they release the promised enhanced Siri or large language model Siri or whatever they're going to be calling it in the, probably the rumor has it that'll be released in the spring. I think Apple's a bit hesitant to say the exact time frame because they promised something before and then felt that it wasn't appropriate to deliver at that time because it wasn't ready. So they got some flack for that. I think it was undeserved flack, but that's irrelevant. I think probably now they're, hesitating a little bit to say, but most of the rumors point to a spring release this coming spring of the new Siri, and I think that'll make it even better. But as of the present moment, I still like Siri a lot, but I don't really use her to add calendar events. And the main reason why is because I don't have all of these options that we just looked through. And so if you want to add a basic event, add dentist appointment for tomorrow at 10 a.m., that's fine. It'll do that. But if I want to make sure that I can choose the travel time and invite people and all that stuff, it becomes a little trickier. Some of it works, but you really get into language issues if you're not careful. I suspect that that will be 1,000% different once we have the new Siri in the spring. But for right now, I would encourage you, if you're going to use her to add events to your calendar, go back and check what they actually look like in the calendar and make any changes you want to make. The other thing is, if you are using her to add events, try to avoid the word with unless you absolutely do intend to invite someone. Because sometimes when you say the word with, it's going to assume that that means you want to invite that person and it's going to send them an invite, and maybe that's not appropriate, right? So, for example, if I said, you know, put lunch with Cliff and Sarah on my calendar, that's probably going to invite Cliff and Sarah to lunch, which would be fine in that case. But if I said, dentist appointment with Dr. Jones at 2 p.m., that might send Dr. Jones an email inviting her or him to my dentist appointment, and that's kind of silly. So, what would be the correct way to say that to make sure that doesn't happen? I would say Dr. Jones appointment, or I wouldn't even put the name, I just put dentist appointment, right? And I could put Dr. Jones' office in the location field and, find the correct address for it. But I don't really need to say with at all. We are in the habit of doing that, I think, in our English language. Appointment with Dr. Silverman. Well, yeah, but you don't need to say that, right? And what if I didn't want to send Cliff and Sarah the invite? How would you say lunch with Cliff and Sarah? Cliff and Sarah lunch or instructor lunch. I mean, there's a million ways to do it without using the word with. So just be aware, if you use the word with, it's probably going to send an invite to the people that are after the word with. And if that's your intention, then that's fine. The other thing I want to talk about very quickly before we go to Sarah and go to your questions is the um, the recurrence option. I showed you how to create a repeating event or recurring event, but it was a very simple recurrence pattern. It was every day, and then I picked an end date. You have other very simple options like every week, every month, every year. I think they even have every 2 weeks. What if it's more complex than that? What if it's the first Tuesday of each month? Or what if it's every Tuesday and Thursday? Or, what if it's on the, I don't know, the 29th of the, well, no, that would be every month, but you get the idea. There are some times where we have to have really weird, really unusual, really unique recurrence patterns for various reasons. And there is a way to do that using the Apple Calendar. There's a custom option at the bottom of the list of repeat options. And if you pick custom, you're going to get a lot of choices. What I would encourage, I'm not going to go through all of them because it's just going to overwhelm you, and I don't want to do that. Um, Also, for the sake of time, because I need to get to Sarah and get to your questions. But know that it's available, and what I would suggest to you is that you play with it when it doesn't matter. Don't wait until you're sitting at the Bible study or the book club or the retirees lunch or whatever that you have on the second and third Tuesday of don't wait until you're there trying to schedule it to figure it out. Play with it when it doesn't matter. And basically the whole idea is you pick custom and then you have several options, right? So it's like repeat daily or weekly or monthly, but once you choose that, like you double tap it and it brings up additional options. So if I say daily, that doesn't mean it has to repeat every day, but it means, let's say, maybe it repeats on every Monday and Wednesday. That would be daily because once I choose daily, there's going to be the next option that's going to say every, and I can pick like Monday. I can also pick Wednesday. Like I can select multiple days that it appears. Or when you do like monthly, you would have options like every Wednesday of the or every I don't know, every second and third Wednesday of the month, or you have like on the, there's even a choice that's called on the, and it'd be like on the first Tuesday of every month, or on the, all of these choices. So you really need to double tap and swipe and play with this and experience it for yourself. There almost any kind of recurrence pattern that you can imagine can be done. I think at one time we found one that we thought it wasn't going to work. You'd have to create two separate events to really fulfill the need for that. And to be honest with you, I forget what it even was. And I don't even know if that's still the case because that was several years and several iOS versions ago. They may have updated it since then. But I remember at one point we found one where we said, yeah, there's really not going to be an option for that. You'll have to do two separate events. But that was extremely rare. And as I said, I don't even know if that still applies today. Pretty much any recurrence pattern that you can come up with for an event, you're going to be able to fulfill with the custom option. Um, so I would really, as I said, don't think that because it's a weird custom recurrence pattern that you're not going to be able to do it or that you're going to need to create multiple events. Probably not. Probably you'll be able to find something that meets the need for the particular pattern that you have, but you just need to play with the repeat options and make sure you choose custom, and that's the place to start. And also, don't forget to put an end date for the repeat if there is one, right? So the duration of the event, again, I used a soccer team earlier as an example. Um, well, my daughter plays soccer and it goes from like April through early June. So I don't want the events on the calendar after June because that doesn't make sense, right? So we set end repeat and pick a date just like I did with the musical. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is put the sound back to what it should have been earlier. And again, I sincerely apologize. That probably did not sound pleasant at the beginning, and that was my fault because I didn't. I just assumed. Normally, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I don't know how I did that, but I apologize. So anyway, we'll ask Sarah just how bad it really was when I get her unmuted. But let me first get it off of that setting.
Add more. What more? How apps. Audio settings. Audio settings. Microphone. Noise removal.
And the lesson learned for me for that is I need to check it every single time and not just think it's where it should have been. Because apparently I forgot to change it before. So now that that is said, praise God, great crowd. Let's find Sarah. And here's Sarah, and we'll get you unmuted, Sarah. And there you go. How you doing?
Hi, Matt. Good. How are you doing?
Good, doing well.
You cracked me up when you said we'll find out how bad it was.
Well, I know it had to be pretty rough because I know what that does when it's set that way, and I just had no idea, and of course didn't see your message.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't sure how exactly to let you know besides,
Oh, I can hear it in my head now. I know.
yeah.
Here's the question. Apart from being annoying, was it intelligible?
Yes. It was
Oh,
totally intelligible. It was just I don't even know how to say wonky was the best
like
word I could
distorted
think
is
of.
what comes to my mind. Like
Uh,
distorted, overly loud, overly
It, it, it,
overdrive, kind of.
it was loud. It wasn't that distorted. It was just, it had an edge to it. It was like metallic or something. So
Okay,
it was still understandable. It was
okay.
just a little jagged to the ear.
Yeah. Well, I apologize. That, as
No,
I
no,
said, I don't
no.
know how that happened. I mean, it was my doing, but I don't know how.
But
But
it was totally understandable as well.
well, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, then we'll play the podcast by ear. But at least everybody got the all that stuff I announced. I thought, oh my, I spent 5 minutes announcing stuff, and But
I was like, should I call him?
yeah. Well, the good news is when I went in there to change it for the
You
thing, then
saw that. Yeah.
At that point, it was good. But yeah, I mean, the
Yeah.
rest of it was good then, right? Once I was aware.
Oh
And
yeah, totally.
yep. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was very good. The calendar is a great app. I have a couple of questions though. One is that you used to have to put in, like if it was every third Monday, and every third Wednesday, you used to have to do it in a separate.
Well, that might be the use case that I was trying to think about a minute ago, because
Yeah.
there was one like that, and that might be the one where it's
Okay.
like the second Monday and the second Wednesday, or something like that. That could be the case where it did have to be two separate events. I know you can do one or the other. Like, I can do every Monday and Wednesday, because I do that for like these classes, and I know you can do like the second Tuesday, or I don't know that you can do the second Tuesday and the second Thursday. That might be exactly the
Yeah.
the use
Yeah.
case where you do need to create two events.
And also every Wednesday, I did not know you used to not be able to do every Wednesday and Friday. Even if it was
Yeah,
everyone, you used
right.
to have to do every Wednesday and then also
Yep.
then do every Friday, but you can now do and.
Yeah, well, I think what it is I'm trying to remember how it goes. I think you pick weekly, and then I think it says every week
Mm,
on, and you can select multiple days, like Wednesday and Friday or something like that.
okay.
I
Okay.
think that's how I mean, it's been a little while since I've
Okay.
done it, but that's my recollection. Yeah.
It's one of those things where every time I set something up, I have to remember it.
Well, yeah, that's kind of, I just sort of do it when I need it, because
Yeah.
memorizing it would be kind of pointless. And
Yeah.
also, demonstrating it. I mean, I debated whether
Yeah.
to give a quick demo of it, but as I said, I think,
Yeah.
especially with the number of new folks that we have, I don't want to overwhelm people. I
Yeah.
think
It is
when you need it,
complicated.
try it. And if you
Yeah.
have questions, we're here on
Yeah.
most Tuesdays and Saturdays, and we
Yeah.
can help you out. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It is one of those things that that's my favorite. Well, one of my favorite things that she says, which is you just need to nose around in there.
yeah, yeah. Yep.
And yeah, but I mean, it makes sense when you're in there, but there are rules that I just can't come up with 1, 2, 3 immediately.
Right.
Um, get in there and you'll recognize it.
Yeah. Yep.
So that was one thing I was going to say about the calendar. And and what you said about like if you make the date, but with Siri, definitely go in there manually and check
Yeah.
to make sure everything is the way you wanted it to be, because that's important, setting up dates.
Right. Right. And
And,
and
and and another thing is when you're making a date, if it's manually, I think you have to do two things, or maybe they've changed that too, and I haven't noticed, but it was like add and done.
well, that applies. I'll tell you when that applies. That applies when you have something in an like, for example, an email with a one of those calendar
An
ICS,
invite.
like when our students register for Zoom
Right.
classes that we offer,
Right.
and they get that little ICS thing, and you have to hit add to calendar first, and then it's going to present you with which calendar you want to add to, and then you have
Right.
to hit done. And people
Right.
have made the mistake of not mistake, they didn't know, but they've done it where they didn't do that, and then they say, well, why didn't it show up on my calendar? Because that is a two-step process. Yeah.
But there was and maybe it's smoothed out now, but it used to be, you had to add it twice, not just for that. And I did find that out,
Yeah.
just by tripping over it myself. But it was like add and add for some weird reason. It was like add to the calendar and then
Yeah, I don't know, it's
yes,
possible,
then you
but
say, and then you're
then
like
you say,
add or
yeah, yeah.
so
Yep.
just make sure it's in there.
Make sure it's in there. And I
check
think,
the calendar. Once you've put it in, go to your day by day,
right,
go to where you
exactly.
put it and make sure it's
And
in there.
check. And
Yeah.
then, just going along with what you said, I really do have, I mean, of course, we don't know because Apple doesn't discuss things that they haven't, publicly released or announced, I should say. But I would have every reason to suspect, and I think all of our listeners, when they hear our AI demos on the 25th, will probably agree with this. It's not at all a stretch to believe that when the new Siri is released, that you will be able to say, add the musical to my calendar. It takes place on the 14th and 15th at 7, and it takes place at the high school. And I want to invite my mom and dad, and I want 3 alerts or something. I don't think that's going to be unreasonable at all with AI
Yeah.
and large language models. Right now, it just is with the current
Right.
implementation. So yeah,
Right.
yep.
Right. Right. Um, oh God, there was one more thing I was going to say, and I totally forgot. Um, Rawr. Okay. I'm not going to remember. Maybe I'll remember during our question
Yeah, I was going to say maybe
answer.
you will while we have the questions, and yeah, yep.
Yeah. I think it was something about I know. When I put things in manually, which I do often, I actually prefer doing things manually than asking Siri to do
Right,
things. So if I'm putting it in on Friday the 11th, let's say, often it'll come up with Thursday the 10th. And it's where I think it's where I have my focus when I first do the ad.
yes, right,
And I can take it down a notch. Like I'll take it all the way down to the end of Friday and see if it'll
right.
do it. But I haven't perfected that yet. But I just make sure that
Well,
whatever it was, I put the focus on Friday and yet it jumped to the previous. It always jumps to the
right,
previous. Just
right.
make sure it's on the right date.
And
That has been my issue. And I don't know what the fix is.
And that's kind of one of the reasons, I suppose, why. I mean, I didn't really think it through that way, but that's kind of, I think, one of the things I like why I teach people to not bother with where the focus is before you start, but just change it in the
Yeah.
add event screen, because then you can pick whatever date you want. But if you are going to do it the other way, like Sarah said, make sure that when you are adding the event, it has the correct date, because it'll tell you what date it's supposed to start on. If it's wrong, change it,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks for joining today's session. Didn't get your question answered? Have an additional comment or feedback? Email us info@ttjtech.biz or info@stiritup.com. And remember, stir is spelled with a U. That's STURITUP.com. Or check out our websites for additional resources. That's ttjtech.biz or stiritup.com. And remember, subscribe to the newsletter when you're there. That way, you don't miss out on any upcoming announcements or events. Thanks for joining us. God bless, and see you next time.